Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studio in New York City, here is Steve Malzberg.
I think it's just one of the most naked abuses of politics I've seen in terms of saying something's important, but not even going and dealing with the
problem. Some of them are trying to, and they're not allowed to.
There were reports. That's right. Kate points out there were reports of a Republican who wanted to go to one of these detention facilities and was barred from DHS employees of actually seeing it. And then the president was about 240 miles away. And it would have been able to really highlight some of the problems that are down there if he had gone there and seen them for himself, and he chose not to. Instead, he chose to raise money for his political allies.
Subpoenaing emails on what's going on with the IRS, but you're really not going to fight your way in to see these kids. It's because you don't want to. But we're going to save that for another day.
All right, folks, that's Chris Cuomo playing it down the middle, as he always claims, saying that Republican congressmen aren't going to the border because they don't want to, not that they can't, and, of course, ignoring that Obama didn't want to. Joining us now, though, is a man who has extended a personal invitation to Nancy Pelosi to come down and see what's going on the Arizona border. John Ladd, he owns the San Jose Ranch in Bisbee, Arizona. Hey, John.
Hi, how you doing?
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. So when you hear Barack Obama, as he has said, and others, that the border is more secure than ever, tell us about your experiences.
Well, we've got 7 holes on our ranch right now you can drive a truck through that Corps of Engineers comes in at the start of our rainy season for flood control. This border, you can drive, we've had 46 full-size pickups full of marijuana in the last 2.5 years, cut the wall down, drive through, get to the highway, get away. They've caught 1 truck out of 46. You can bring whatever you want through this border. And I can see, I'm sitting in my house right now watching the border wall. That's how close I live to it.
Yeah, your property, your south fence, I believe, is on the border. Right. How many illegals have been caught by Border Patrol on your ranch? Well,
it's a pretty much a verifiable fact, but about 500,000. In 25 years.
Wow. That is amazing. That is just amazing. You know, when you hear about what's going on with these kids, what goes through your mind? I mean, is this the worst you've ever seen it?
Well, as far as what's going on in Texas, it is, and the consequences that, you know, our country is confused with the humanitarian rights versus your constitutional rights, and that's the way the immigration deal's been in my whole lifetime. But the fact is that we're going to be inundated with diseases in our population as well as the livestock diseases. That is my biggest concern, because if I get a diseased cow out of Mexico, my ranch is done. We've been here 118 years. We haven't had any issues with that because we take care of our ranch. But what's coming up from Central America is absolutely my biggest fear in the disease issue.
With regard to humans and animals, how might the border issue that's going on now in Texas, how might that affect your livestock?
Well, what's going to happen, and I don't think it's going to be a quick fix, but within the next couple of months, the Border Patrol will deploy all of their assets to Texas, and it's going to shift right back over here to Arizona. They're not going to stop just because you got more agents in Texas. They're going to come back to Arizona. And when you get people coming all the way from South America in 3 or 4 days, what they walk through, what they've got in their body right now, on their clothes, then they're going to get across this border, and we're going to be really concerned about what kind of diseases you're bringing in this country.
In the 25 years that you say 500,000 illegals have been caught on your property, has it ever been this bad, do you believe, in this country?
I think as far as the actual consequences, I think this is probably the worst. But then there's been more people coming at different times.
Yeah, and of course the health issue for humans, a tremendous concern as well. We had a doctor on yesterday who talked about tropical diseases that our medical facilities and doctors are not even familiar with and don't even know how to look for or to treat. Let me ask you this: you talk about you use the analogy of fire and gasoline. Right. Talk about how you believe that the border crisis is a fire and that D.C. is just pouring on the gas.
Well, Washington is so inept that they can't sit down and have a legitimate conversation about immigration. And when you get children involved, oh my God, that turns the whole tide from what our country's based on with the laws that we've had in place and why we're the greatest country in the world to we have to take care of every kid in the world now. And Washington can't separate reality from somebody like Nancy Pelosi that, she wishes she could take care of all 62,000 that have come
She
so
said
far.
She wishes she could take them all home.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
That's what I said to my TV set when I heard her say that. Go ahead, take them all. Now, one other thing. People think we have a fence on the border. There's only been 700 miles built, a border fence. Would your solution be to just seal the border first and then worry about everything else afterward? Well,
right. Our ranch is 10.5 miles on the border. We have 3 different styles of fence, from 10 feet tall, 13 feet tall, and 14 feet tall. And it doesn't work if you don't patrol the border. Washington will not allow Border Patrol to patrol the border and implement consequences when you get caught illegally coming to this country. That's a fact. Border Patrol could shut down the whole deal in a month if they were allowed to.
Yeah, from what I understand, the president didn't even know that the Border Patrol is 10, 20, 30, 40 miles back many times, not on the border, and now they're busy doing paperwork down in Texas.
Absolutely. They're babysitting, and while they're taking care of the kids, because that's such a big issue with the people that don't agree with us, they're running dope, and the bad guys are coming in. The border is not about immigration anymore. It's about smuggling. It's about money and smuggling.
Yeah.
And we can't get Washington to sit down and, I don't feel that we have any representation anymore. I've had countless politicians down here, and, one of my radical solutions is I said, let's just shut the border down, period. NAFTA, anybody working in this country driving back, and all the
no, John, that a lot of people would agree with you on that. We're out of time, unfortunately. I hope to speak to you again, sir. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you guys for what you're doing.
Thank you. John Ladd, ladies and gentlemen, back with more after this.